Hi, welcome everyone. We're so excited that you're here today. I want to take the time to thank the Accenture team that you can see on your screen for being here today and affording us the opportunity to find out a little bit more about this global organization and its impact on innovation. Accenture has been at the forefront of translating great ideas into real business outcomes, and I'm so excited about today's talk. Before we jump right in, I want our attendees to actually know a little bit more about the system that we're using. So with Blue Jeans events, you have the ability to participate in any polls that we have running, and I believe we have one running right now. And we'd love to have your feedback on that. Additionally, we ask that you use a Q&A option to pose any questions to the Accenture panel. We'll get to those during the meeting today, and we'll also get to them at the end of our conversation. Lastly, we want to hear from you in a less formal way. So please feel free to use our chat or event chat to interact with our peers and also us as well. Now that we've gotten that out the way, I would like to introduce our moderator. Randy Bryant is the Executive Support Analyst for Accenture, right here in Atlanta. Randy has been with Accenture for a couple of years now and is such an invaluable source for Georgia Tech and our students. She ensures that events like these are actually possible. And so, Randy, I bat it over to you.
Thank you so much, Risha. I really appreciate that. And thank you to everyone from Georgia Tech for joining us today. I know you could be spending your sunny Friday anywhere, but we really appreciate you spending it here with us. I would like to go through and kind of just do a brief introduction for each of our members and then hand it over to them to expand on themselves and their roles. So we have Joe Deppa. He is a managing director here at Accenture. He is the applied intelligence lead for the South Market unit. Follow that, we have Qingqi. Qingqi too, he's our consulting development senior analyst. We have Karima Al-Khalid, the consulting development analyst, and Carlos Gonzalez, data science manager. So they are just a few people here that make up our applied intelligence the practice here, especially in the Atlanta. They are kind of our go-to team here. There are many people here that help us out, but we specifically chose them because they're all GT alumni. I'm from Charlotte, so I didn't even have the chance to be. But they all have strong ties to Georgia Tech and are very happy to be here to speak to you guys about Accenture and possible career roles here and what that could mean for you after you graduate. So Joe, why don't you kind of kick us off here and expand on your role, what you're doing here, and then maybe a fun fact about you that you'd like to toss out there for these Georgia Tech students.
Mm-hmm. All right. No, thank you, Randy, and hello, Georgia Tech students. So I'm Joe Deppa, and you can see I've got 2 degrees there behind me from Georgia Tech. One of the fun facts is I just completed my online master's in analytics degree at Georgia Tech. So I did my undergrad in industrial engineering, and then now most recently completed my graduate program in analytics. So super excited, passionate Georgia Tech fan. I'm hoping we have a football season this fall. We'll see how that goes, but excited to talk to you all today. And I'm also excited to have our team on the phone here who, as Randy mentioned, these are some of our rock stars that happen to both work within applied intelligence, which I'll go over in just a second, but also happen to be Georgia Tech alumni. So we wanted to give a little bit of a what's the real world look like from different points of views. And so between Qingqi, Karima, and Carlos, they're going to share a little bit more sort of day in the life of what it's like to be a consultant at Accenture. So in terms of applied intelligence in my role, what I do is we have about 400 data scientists, data engineers, AI strategists, we call them. And they sit in the South Market unit of Accenture. And so that's the market unit that's focused on our clients that live or are actually headquartered within Washington, D.C., down to Miami, over to Dallas and Houston and everything in between. So we work with some of the major clients in the Fortune 100 companies such as Coca-Cola, Nestle, UPS, Delta, Marriott, Hilton, Royal Caribbean, AT&T, and others. And so the goal of our team is really for those clients, how do you help them become more data-driven? So many of them are trying to make that pivot from being sort of gut reaction driven and making decisions based on their gut to using data to do that. And so the team that we've got within the 400 is really focused on helping our clients go from becoming sort of basic novice users of analytics and data and technology to becoming at least a little bit more mature so that they can actually leverage that data to make more informed decisions across the enterprise. So what I thought I'd do now is let each of our panelists, Carlos, Chinchi, and Karima, kind of share a little bit about the projects that they're working on to give you a little bit more flavor for the types of work that we do. So Carlos, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Hey everyone, my name is Carlos Gonzalez. Graduated from Georgia Tech not too long ago, I think, 2015. I was an undergrad in industrial engineering and then a minor in computer science. So spent some great years at Georgia Tech and now here with the Accenture family. Today, I've been working on different sets of projects and kind of leading the team deliver that data-driven transformation for our clients. Most recently worked with a healthcare company and just been focusing on finding, value for them through their data. So building models to analyze all their abundance amount of data to then see where there are opportunities that we can help them build initiatives to then address them and then hopefully realize those savings. Hand it over to Ching-Chi.
Hey, all sounds good. I'm going to try to not sound like Joe too much, just because I was also Georgia Tech Industrial Engineering, and I'm also on my online master's in analytics right now. So if anybody's ever wondered if school is harder than work or work is harder than school, if you combine both of them, that's the real winner. So if anybody's ever curious about the possibilities of doing that, you can go ahead and ask me any questions. As for my work at Accenture, I've really had the privilege of working out of our hub right on campus. So it's actually super exciting because I get to work on a lot of the innovative work, a lot of things that you hear about in the news, or a lot of the technologies that you're talking about, your text analytics, your natural language processing, computer vision, and all the sorts, all that kind of stuff, just to bring value to our clients as well. And I also had the privilege of working with Carlos in that healthcare project, which was also a great initiative as well, and also a lot of different other initiatives across the South. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Karima.
Yeah, sure thing. So I actually graduated from Georgia Tech back in May with a degree in industrial engineering and a minor in social justice. So I've actually been working for Accenture since August. So you're coming up on that 1 year mark now. But definitely have done a lot of really cool work within the applied intelligence field. So I got to do some proof of concepts with this delivery package company, and we did this emerging markets project, and brought in a new platform to help get new customers in, which has been really exciting. Then I also did some HR analytics to kind of help a different company with, focusing on increasing their talent landscape and being more effective with the different kinds of trainings they could give to them. And currently working with the food company actually, and we're doing another proof of concept with them on a data maturity assessment to kind of see where they're at right now and how we can help them get to where they need to be. So really excited. I've done a lot of really cool things here and love the people. So definitely excited to talk to you guys today.
Oh, got to learn how to work that mute button, huh? So thank you guys. Like they said, these guys are some of our core people here. They've got a lot going on. And if you're like Ching Chi and thinking about doing the work and the student life, it's a thrill. I would know. I'm doing an online project, but it's aside from Georgia Tech. Now, we wanted to ask, and this is going to be for Joe, Accenture is a global company. So you can find one of our offices in I think it's over 70 different countries around the world. So their opportunities are endless. Accenture touches over 2/3 of all the mail that goes around the world as well. Our impact is huge. Thinking about that, Joe, can you talk about how you've seen Accenture's impact globally within the industry, and even maybe just on broad terms?
Yeah, no, happy to. So that's one of I think the benefits of working at Accenture is we do have a global footprint. And so as Randy mentioned, we're in every country. And so some of the cool things that we're able to do is actually help our clients that may be based here in North America, but they're trying to move internationally. We can help them with that. Vice versa, if we have clients that are internationally, but they're trying to get a project in North America or other regions, we help them with that. So Karima mentioned a pretty interesting project that she helped us with, which was looking at how a major Fortune 100 company can start to expand into international markets, particularly emerging markets where there's a lot of growth. in the demographic and the population. And so we help them create a new product that actually reaches customers that started in India. Now it's moving to the rest of Asia Pacific. And it's got the ability to basically, we can actually use data to find those customers in those markets, but then also we created a digital platform that those customers can now access. And it's an entirely new space for them. It's an entirely new product set. So I would say that we do lots of innovation on a global scale that I think is super fascinating. Some of the team also gets to travel internationally. Another project that we did for a major consumer beverage company was that they actually, what they wanted to do was figure out how to do marketing more effectively globally. So they are headquartered here in Atlanta. They spend a lot of money on marketing dollars that you probably see on TV, you see it in newspaper, you see it in radio. But what they're having trouble with was the digital marketing dollars. And so we actually had teams go out from Atlanta to each location across the world and help those marketing organizations learn how to leverage their digital media more efficiently. It's a super cool project. Actually, that one was a favorite because people got to go to Singapore and Dubai and Barcelona. And so they got to see the rest of the world and see how they do marketing and then help them sort of transform their organization. So I think for Accenture, most of what we do is global. We also have a footprint here in North America specifically. If people are more interested in North America, roles or local roles, there is a dedicated group that only focuses on local clients here in Atlanta, for example. But there's also a wide variety of activities and projects if you wanted to go to North America and then more broadly to our global population as well.
Thank you, Joe. Also, speaking of, you mentioned innovation. So Accenture's big thing is that we're innovative. There's a lot going on in terms of being on the cusp of new things. So tossing this to Ching-Chi, Carlos, and Karima, can you guys, each one of you, think about and share briefly what was the coolest, most innovative thing that you've been a part of at Accenture yet?
Yeah, there's a few of those. I think that from my side, one of the really cool initiatives that I've worked on has been trying to figure out, what the restaurant of the future is going to look like. And so we ended up, trying to hear from the customers, right? So every time you go on Yelp and you leave a review, that it doesn't just go into a black hole, that, your quick service restaurants, your Chick-fil-A's are going to hear it, your McDonald's, your Denny's are all going to be listening to that. And so the whole idea was, we had a workshop where we had all these different representatives from all these quick service restaurants. And so one of the really cool initiatives was to basically scrape the first page review of every single quick service restaurant in the Southeast. And so with that, kind of build a map of what are the common themes that we're seeing amongst quick service restaurants, which is really cool about how to use what people are saying to reimagine what restaurants are going to be looking like in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome, Ching-Chi. I also wanted to add something that I thought was really neat, and I think actually, Ching-Chi, you worked on this too, which was the anti-human trafficking project. So I know to me, social good work is very important, and I've seen that at Accenture, there's a lot of that going on, especially in the AI space, because we're able to use data analytics to help with that predictive modeling. So what we've been trying to do with the anti-human trafficking project, I actually was on the side of it. I know, Ching-Chi, you did a little bit more of the hard aspect of programming it. But kind of trying to predict where those hotspots are of where that human trafficking is happening and how can we help, be more proactive instead of reactive to that going on, especially here in Atlanta where it's such a huge problem. So to me, that was a super impactful project and something really interesting that I enjoyed working on.
Okay. Well, I think for me, my favorite one so far, and this is because I really like doing events, I like, hosting events and having people have fun at them. And one of the coolest things we were able to build was a AI cloud-based bartender that basically used machine learning to kind of read your face, read some characteristics and kind of facial features. And then based on your mood or your reactions at the time of going up to, right, this tablet that would look at your face, it would recommend a drink. And apart from recommending a drink, you can also select which one, right? If it selected the one that you predicted correctly, then it'll also make you that drink. And then based on your responses, it'll start learning, right? And it kind of understand, hey, maybe for people that kind of have this specific facial expression, they're not necessarily looking for this specific beverage, but maybe this other one. And they'll start learning little by little. And we were able to showcase that in so many different events. And it was really cool, big hit. Definitely one of my favorite ones.
Yes, thank you, Carlos. I believe I've seen that machine in the hub, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Mixie, the mixing robot? Speaking of which, last year when we did this event, we were able to do it live. We had a tour. It was fantastic. Our hub, it was new here in Atlanta in this past year. Unfortunately, COVID has prevented us from doing that, but innovation doesn't stop. We are still out here doing what we can. And while we're telling you guys all these amazing things about Accenture and what to do here, I know that one of the biggest things on your minds, especially in a time like this, is what skills can you focus on? You know, how do you increase your hireability? What can you do that right out the gate you can put yourself in a great position to be hired by a company like Accenture? So I want to kick it back to the panelists again, Ching-Chi, Carlos, and Karima specifically, and could each one of you kind of explain what you think was one of the top one or maybe few skills that you believe has made you so successful here at Accenture that these college students can also focus on now to help benefit them when they're in your position?
Sure, I can go ahead and jump into this one. And I think many of you might also feel the same way. I think a key part that a lot of people think, or maybe I thought when I was graduating from Georgia Tech is, right, well, I've learned so much, I'm ready to apply everything that I learned. But actually, in fact, as you continue your career, you have to continue being ready, engaged and excited to learn more new things and kind of put effort into, understanding and expanding your skills. And that's going to help in so many different ways, not only from, let's say, building models or applying, analytics or applying your engineering background and statistics to logistics. It goes all the way to having a fun team and kind of interacting with everyone around you to be able to deliver that key value to your clients. I think for me, that's definitely something that I keep focusing on, and I think it's something that doesn't stop. So.
Yeah, I could add on to that. I think for me, the biggest thing was I had co-founded a startup in college, and I know that whole mentality of like wanting to take initiative and wanting to try something different and failing fast, right? That is very much encouraged at Accenture, and especially within like AI, where they want you to try new things. They want you to think out of the box. So I think that's really important. And also just like owning the things that are your own skills. I know sometimes we think, oh, we have to be programmers, we have to be this, we have to be that. Really, like any skill that you have, like you could bring to the table and offer it as something valuable to the team. So just to give a quick example, like I had done some like videography before, just something on the side as a hobby, and I actually used it as a way to do like a customer journey video for one of the big clients we had. And that was super impactful and is like a new way of value to our clients because they could show these execs and clearly show how this product will be useful to their customers. Whereas before, I might not have realized that would have been a valuable skill to offer, just really how you spin things. And it's actually really funny because Joe was the one who interviewed me. So he got to like hear, the first part of who I was and hear about my resume, giving him the whole pitch. So I'm sure he has a lot of great things to say about what, they're looking for in terms of hiring.
Yeah, I think I can definitely build off of that last point when you said that Joe was the one that interviewed you. I think that it's important that you realize going through all of these recruiting events that the people you meet now were real people, right? And so, if you join Accenture, that we're absolutely going to be part of your network and we're going to be more than happy to help you out, right? We're not just recruiters, we're consultants as well, and we're going to be here to help you, even if, you want advice to interview with Accenture or you just want general case study information, we're here to help. And like just us being here now, we are now also part of your network.
Yes, Ching-Chi, thanks for bringing that up. Accenture, as cheesy as it sounds, feels like one big family. We are here to help you, especially what I've had from this office specifically, the Atlanta office. So I wanted to specifically ask Joe to put in his 2 cents when it comes to hiring because many of the people here were hired by him. We do have a few questions, though, that go along with it that I wanted to toss out that Joe can also answer. Is one of them, is there a specific major that Accenture looks for from job applicants? And do the employees get the ability to live and work internationally?
Okay, so let me start with the interview side. So yes, I think I had the pleasure of interviewing and hiring everybody on the phone here, Ching-Chi, Karima, and Carlos in particular. And what I look for, and I think the majority of the companies that you're going to interview look for, is passion. So do you have a passion for something? You heard Karima and Ching Chi and Carlos talk about some of the passions that they have. And so for Karima, for example, I remember having the interview with her and she talked about her video business. I thought it was so cool that she started her own business in college while going to college. And while it may not be directly related to consulting, what it shows us and what it showed me was a passion for something and the ability to sort of think outside the box and be creative. And so we often look for, especially in Georgia Tech grads who oftentimes, right, think that the more technical you are in an interview and or the higher grades that you have and or if you tell me about your classes that you took in machine learning, and sometimes there's a tendency to go to that sweet spot at Georgia Tech because we all have a little bit of an engineering mindset. So actually what really helps, I think, differentiate you from some of the peer groups when you're going through those interviews is talk about what you're passionate about, talk about the human you are, talk about what makes you different, right? At Accenture in particular, we value inclusion and diversity. And so I'm often looking for very different skill sets. So I'm not looking for one skill set across any of my team member. Everybody brings a very unique skill set, and it's the combination of those skill sets that really makes us more powerful. The second point is on the consulting side, so we actually say that our people are really what our clients are buying. So it's really important that we bring very valuable skill sets to places that we consult for. And so being at Georgia Tech already, you have a very strong education. You've got a very strong technical background. And so when we can find the unique skill sets that we otherwise don't have within Accenture, it puts you ahead of the competition. On the second point about international, yes, so we do international transfers. It's not easy, right? Just to be transparent, it's not easy to get transferred internationally. But if there is support, for example, where I've had one person on my team that worked on an international project, she wanted to move internationally and she had support from that country to actually move her internationally for the role that they otherwise would have to fill from somewhere else. And so she was able to do that. And so yes, in Accenture, there's the opportunity to move internationally, but it's not a sort of, just raise your hand and you get to go. You got to make sure there's the demand within that region, there's a job within that region, and the people within that region believe that you would be a valuable addition to their employee group. And then if all those things happen, then absolutely everybody's supportive within Accenture of moving international.
Yes, and to piggyback on what Joe said, there is the fact that you can be here in Atlanta, work on a project that's based in Dubai, also be working with someone in London. The fact that you get those opportunities to work globally will increase your odds of being able to work internationally. Because the way Accenture works, there's normally company structures stacked one on top of another. It's more like a matrix, like a matrices, and it's all of these roles are intertwined and people, and it can be a little bit difficult to learn, but the benefit of that is that you do get to get your hands on a lot of different projects. I know that there are some questions around internships. We currently aren't offering any internships at this time. We do offer them and we'll do so in the future, but right now we don't. That being said, I know that this crew here, we like to talk and we like to talk freely and we like to answer questions as they come. And so we're going to deviate a little bit, and we would like to hear some people's voices. I'm not so sure how Blue Jean works. We do have some Q&As in the chat that I'm looking at. I went through a few of the questions. But Risha, do you think you can assist in maybe getting a live question from someone who would like to come off mute?
Yes, and so we've sent out the request if anyone wants to. So what I'm actually going to do is go through and pull up anyone who has a question in, and so that they can actually accept the request to actually go live. And so that's one of the things I'm going to actually do. So anyone that I'm putting up live, you can accept that request. And I'll also look out in the chat as well if anyone wants to actually accept that. So you will see those coming through, and you can go ahead and press yes. I'm looking to see.
One other while you're doing that is,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead. I
was just thinking about the question around interviews and what else differentiates you. And I think Ching Chi made a good point that I think if I was going through interviews again, I think this is an important point, which is remember two things. One is that if you're interviewing for a company, there's going to be certain events. So there's going to be networking events, there's going to be coffee chats, there's going to be panels that you can go to learn more about the company. And Ching Chi made a good point, which is that gives you an opportunity to meet more people from the company. And it also gives the opportunity for us to meet more of you. And so take advantage of those extra events. Don't just think of sending in your resume and going to the interview, because those extra events is where we really get to know you even better than just the interview process. So I'd encourage you all to take advantage of all the external networking that goes on as part of the interview process in the fall.
Perfect. I'm inviting everyone for live. And so if you have an invitation at the moment for live, you can just, if you want to actually pose your question, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and you can go ahead and ask your questions.
So I know that you said that Accenture is not providing any internships right now, but are there any like shadow opportunities or just like business that people can do just to learn more about what the company does and what kind of work that they do?
So right now, we don't, there's nothing other than types of events like these that we do through a school or through community events, some virtual stuff that we do. I will have to look into that because right now, aside from stuff like this, we just don't have any opportunity. With the current climate, this is probably the best platform you're going to get something. Attending something like this, like a virtual panel, and then following up with us that are on it to get a little bit more information about possibly what we're doing, get connected. But unfortunately, nothing like shadow work or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And everyone, you can go ahead and whenever you're, I think I have Archie and Ritika that you're on, you've accepted, and so I've unmuted you. You can go ahead as well and ask your questions whenever you want to.
Well, I just asked my question. So.
Thank you, Archie.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So I have a question as well. So a number of the persons on the call are first-year students. And so what is one advice? I know we have a number of Georgia Tech alums on here, but what's one advice that you could give to our first-year students or students who are starting on their journey of higher education that they could actually do right now to pose themselves in a great spot to actually get an internship or a future employment with a Fortune 100 company such as yourself?
Yeah, so I can go ahead and take that question. I think there are a lot of opportunities that Accenture has. I know we have an innovation challenge every year, and that's almost exclusively for first and second year students. There's also the Accenture Student Empowerment Program that is also for diversity recruiting. And then what they do is in the summer, obviously this summer it's going to be virtual, but there's a huge like workshop where everybody comes into the office, and then you meet a lot of other students from other diversity students from all over the Southeast as well. And as for the Innovation Challenge, that's kind of how I got my foot in the door. I ended up doing the Innovation Challenge, and we ended up being national runner-ups. We lost to University of Chicago, 100% over it at this point. But that kind of like gets your foot in the door in terms of like experience, and then you get to meet a lot of people, right? So one of the judges on like my panel was Marty Rogers, who's now, he leads our entire, Accenture South, right? And so you never know who you're going to meet as well. So definitely one of the greatest ways to interact with people. I know Carlos was a coach on that for this year as well. So you get to meet a lot of these like really invested mentors, both in leadership as well as us like local office people as well. And, if you get far enough, you also get interview opportunities and if you start off as a first or second year student and you get interview opportunities, you get to have the opportunity to get fever twice in both final rounds, first and second in your 2 interviews. And then that way, when you go for your full time, you can actually be healthy and not, do all the things you shouldn't do.
Thank you.
Just real quick to add on to that, first year students in college, one of the best things you can do for Accenture or other companies that you have your eye on out here is to volunteer in the community. I am part of our corporate citizenship program, and what it does is I'm part of a team that helps fund Accenture's pro bono and cash money into community events. We work with Boys and Girls Club, we work with St. Jude's, and we work with a variety of other nonprofits in the area. And oftentimes, when times are back to normal, we have a lot of our employees on site doing volunteer events. So if you also are out in the community doing nonprofit work and volunteering, you're going to run into an Accenture employee, you're going to run into a Bank of America employee, you're going to run into people to make the connections to get where you want to be. And also as a first year student, enjoy college life. You have quite a few years ahead of you. It's a stressful world out here. You're going to have plenty of time to be stressed in your job. So take advantage of what your college offers, take advantage of being a student, and don't be stressing yourself out about having a job when you graduate. You have a few years and enjoy, volunteer, enjoy, make connections. You'll have a great time.
Let me add to that real quick, Randy, because I think another important part, as well as volunteering and kind of participating in the Accenture events that we host, take advantage of the student organizations that you guys have. For example, I was big on our SHEP, right, Society of Hispanics Professional Engineers organization in Georgia Tech, and I currently now hold in the other side, right? I'm the Atlanta Accenture GT SHEP kind of recruitment liaison to make that connection. And there's so many events. We partner with so many different student organizations and provide different opportunities for mentoring or going to national career fairs that are not necessarily Georgia Tech but are SHEP sponsored, as well as other different events that we kind of host throughout the year that just builds that relationship and kind of provides puts your name out there. And again, get to meet more people, get to know them, start kind of understanding what is it that they do and kind of what you would like to do. So.
And I just have a quick tip to add on to kind of what everyone said, which is the biggest thing I probably learned throughout college was anything, like whether it's a networking event, whether it's your professor, whether it's an event you went to, whatever it is, if there's someone you meet that you enjoy talking to and you feel like you can learn more from them, reach out to them. Like whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's email, whether it's a phone call, like reach out to these people. Like it will help you so much. I know I have so many mentors who have backed me up and who have helped me make the decisions that I needed to make, like that I had met my freshman year of college and then having to make like my decision as to like where I want to work my senior year, right? Having those people watch my growth from freshman year to senior year, they get to really know who you are and can help you make those decisions. So just keep that in mind. They want to help you and they're looking to help people. So just reach out to people. And like I said, there's so many different ways of doing that.
Fantastic. We have a few people that have accepted the request to join. And so anyone who wants to actually pose your questions, I have unmuted you. And so you could go ahead.
Hi, my name is Karthik. I'm an incoming computer science major at Tech, interested in cloud architecture and intelligence. And I just wanted to ask you all if everyone could just touch on what is the coolest project you've worked on at Accenture that you found the most interest in? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cool ones. I know that, like Karima mentioned, working to fight human trafficking in Atlanta is definitely very rewarding. I know that Accenture also, we have a lot of acquisitions as well. So I've had the privilege of working with an acquisition, doing content design. We were running live A/B testing, live experiments on their websites. And so you could actually see your experiments and your hypotheses being deployed in terms of content on their website. So that was super cool. And there's a lot of really exciting analytics initiatives also in the South. So I think I can't really pick one. It's just a combination of all of these really cool experiences kind of come together to build this story I'm really proud of and the wonderful experiences I've had.
Yeah, I could go next, which to me, it's like Tinky said, there's a lot of really cool ones. The one that I've really liked recently was I got to work on a COVID-19 dashboard. And so that was a really interesting project because, like we said, Accenture is a global company. So being able to see what happened in China, what's happening in Europe, right? And then it's coming to America. It's really interesting to be able to create this dashboard and try to create new models, right, that could predict, where things are going and help our clients plan for the future. And it was just really interesting because it was so quick. Like, it was such a fast-paced project because every day, right, it was changing, and we found out news about COVID being different. And so figuring out different ways to work with the team and be as agile as possible, I thought it was really interesting.
I think I have to go back to that cloud-based bartending machine that we built that was kind of AI and machine learning combined, and use AWS and Rhetoric to what is it that that person that is standing in front of, let's say, the bartender wants a drink. Now, I don't know if my Wi-Fi is breaking up, but I'm gonna hand it over to Randy real quick.
Oh, yeah, Wi-Fi issues. I live in an apartment complex, so I know what that is like. So to expand on that is that Accenture doesn't do just like these types of projects. They also do a lot of innovative internal projects and community projects. For example, for corporate citizenship, we have been mainly focusing on skills to succeed, and we're very active with Covenant House, which is for homeless youth. And we normally would do a sleep out. I mean, even some of our biggest hitters in this office, executive board members globally, would be rolling out their sleeping bags and sleeping outside to raise money. This year, due to COVID and everything going online, we had to be very creative and very innovative on how we're going to do this. So we can't have a large group of people together. It's not going to work. So this year, they did virtual sleep outs where I saw one of our highest MDs pick up his laptop and lay next to it in the ground outside in his yard to raise money for the homeless youth. Accenture is full of little instances where we are constantly innovating inside and outside of what we do here. And what's really great is the culture that allows us to do that. I think someone in the chat asked, how has the culture changed in the past 2 years since Julie Sweet became our CEO? And our mantra here, which you'll hear time and time again, is truly human. So what that means, or what it's supposed to mean, is that we come with our best selves to work, and it's us as people first, us as people, and then comes the client and the work. You can hear that from a corporation, and you can be like, okay, whatever. In Accenture, I don't want to sound like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but it's true. I've been here, I think this is my 4th year, 2 years in this role. And the connections I've made and the accommodations that have happened, I lost my mother to cancer January 2019. As you know, if anyone's lost anybody, it can be devastating. I didn't have to think twice about shutting my laptop and packing my bags and going to Charlotte to be with the family. I had zero worries. My supervisor got me. My team got me. Everyone was checking up on me. In a job like ours, it can be very stressful. You can think you can't step away from your laptop. I have to do this. This is everything. But Accenture makes it you feel like you come first, regardless of what's on your plate. So speaking to the culture, it's fantastic. You can show up as you are, who you are. We have employee resource groups that are the women's ERG, the LGBTQIA ERG, the African American ERG that support you. They support who you are as a person through and through. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm some kind of Accenture cheerleader, but my experience has been fantastic here in regards to culture, innovation, and how that goes. And Joe, I know you might have wanted to say something on that note.
If there's other questions, we could take those other questions. I think we only have 15 minutes left. Is there anybody else that had a question?
Yes, I did. Sorry, I'm Zishan Sinha, and I'm an incoming freshman into Georgia Tech as well. I'm studying business with a concentration in IT management. However, I'm debating between business and computer science. So right now, I heard that you all said that internships are unavailable right now. But in a couple years, correct me if I'm wrong, you said that there will be spots opening up for internships. I was going to ask a question about that, but okay, so I was gonna ask if where do you see people in a IT, a business / IT, concentration or area, end up specializing in? Because I know, I'll most likely, if I do business, I'll minor in computer science, but I don't know if that's enough for me to, do something computer science heavy with a company like Accenture. So, I was wondering if there were internship positions for like management consulting for like sophomore students, or, I'm honestly just trying to learn more. I don't know enough yet at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's a good question, and I like the question because I think it's an important one, which is where is the world sort of going, and where are the jobs, say, the next 2-3 years? What do those jobs look like? And it's a question we talk about often at Accenture, and even more broadly, the future of work is a big topic, not only in North America but globally. So we're working with a lot of very senior leaders at the government to figure out how do we make sure that we train the next generation of leaders all the way from pre-K through undergrad to graduate. So that question is a key part of that. And what I would tell you is what's happening in the world and in our sort of applied intelligence community, which is the community that's focused on data and analytics, is there was probably the last 5 years of data science and machine learning. And so what you saw is many of our clients were hiring data scientists and machine learning experts. And what's happened now is there's been a bit of a pivot, and probably a pivot post-COVID, to find what we're calling as analytics translators. And so it's the ability to take all this data science, take all of the data that's sitting on the cloud, and translate them in a way that somebody can make a decision. So it's going from the analytics to the action. And actually, I would tell you that in the last few months, the executives are saying, look, the type of talent we need has dramatically shifted. COVID has shifted the talent from being very technically focused on data science and understanding the algorithms and understanding the models and the R-squareds and all that stuff, and now focused on translating those models by using human insight. And so I think that combination that you spoke of having sort of the business degree with a concentration in computer science is actually quite a good one, because I think this combination of science and business is going to start to merge more and more together for our clients.
thank you so much, sir.
Sure. Other questions?
I'm looking out to see if anyone else has raised their hand. Andy, I believe you just.
Yes. Hi, my name is Andy Mai. I'm a second-year industrial engineering major, and I saw towards the beginning of the year this year, Accenture went through kind of a major reorganization / restructuring, ended up combining a bunch of service lines and reorganizing. Has the strategy and management consulting arms being merged affected your work projects in any way?
Yeah, so I mean, Accenture, every year we go through we look at our business and figure out the best way that we should be organized to help meet our client demands. And so this last year we did one of those, and we basically combined our strategy consulting teams together. And actually our applied intelligence team now sits within our strategy consulting functions. So I tell you, in many ways, what the whole goal of that was that we actually wanted to reduce the amount of sort of what we call silos, so the amount of sort of different groups trying to do the same types of problems, and we brought those teams together so that we can be more collaborative and more powerful. So, in many ways, I would say it hasn't certainly affected our day jobs. We're still client focused. We're still part of, but I also would tell you that I think actually the ability for us to be a little bit more responsive and adaptive to what our clients are looking for is probably improved as a result of those restructurings.
Thanks so much. Anyone else have any other questions for our team?
Yes, I did it again. One more. It was another quick question. I was gonna ask. I might have missed, in the beginning when you all touched up a little bit more on internship opportunities right now. But I was wondering if there was any unpaid experience, whether it was an internship or any research experience that we anybody from Georgia Tech could potentially work in with Accenture or with somebody from Accenture, if there was something like that available.
Formally, right now, unfortunately, there is not.
Yeah, but at the same time, I know that a lot of us, we're open to having like sometimes official or sometimes unofficial like mentees. I know that I participate with mentor jackets as well. that kind of connects people with alumni. And so, I still meet up with my mentee every now and then as well. So, there's always a lot of opportunities in terms of guidance from us that you might actually learn a lot more of rather than just shadowing a project, right? That could be a lot more relevant as well for you, or in terms of like what you should look at in school, or even like what classes you should pick and how that's relevant with what we're seeing in, outside of school, right?
Thank you.
So,
Chinchi,
so basically,
okay.
they're still like connect with somebody, and I could still talk to them and still go on like, like coffee chats and things like that without necessarily, acquiring an internship or a formal, professional experience. And I could still gain the same knowledge and same understanding of some of the things that you are doing anyways.
Thanks so much, Ishan. Question, somebody had asked before, could you talk a little bit more about the innovation challenge?
Yeah, I can definitely talk a little bit more about the innovation challenge. I think Carlos actually would have a great perspective on that, since he was a coach, so he can maybe tell you about how he was guiding his team, and then how the format has been this year.
Sure. Essentially, the Innovation Challenge is presented. It brings on different teams from different universities across, let's say, the South, in this particular case, and they're given with the same problem. Essentially, it's up to you and the small team of, let's say, in this case, Georgia Tech that was picked, kind of think of innovative ideas going through a business case, right? So you're going to be thinking about what's the overall problem, who's the client, and you're actually going to be going through the experience of, building a solution, preparing that kind of, let's call it proposal, and then selling it to the judges, which is kind of, let's say, the client. And it's just a really great experience to work on a team environment. So being able to work with a diverse team that you might know or you might not know prior to the Innovation Challenge, and actually put your skills into kind of building different solutions or using and applying what you've learned so far at Georgia Tech in order to provide that unique insight kind of solution. From my perspective, I was kind of like the Georgia Tech, or actually this year I was helping local team back from Puerto Rico. And, the role is basically kind of guide them and provide tips as to, hey, let's focus on this specific particular area. Maybe the problem is not that, maybe it's this, or just ask key questions that would help them kind of expand their thoughts and kind of think about it in a different way or different perspective. But overall, you get experience from teamwork, from putting up a solution and kind of writing down the details, as well as presenting it and going in front of a panel of judges to kind of fight for your case and say, why do you think, right, your solution is the best? And then at the end, it gets selected the top 3 teams, and then they keep moving down to three different rounds to eventually make it up to where Ching-Chi made it and still hasn't got over it. But hopefully that answered the question.
Fantastic. We have another question that I think would be great for the group. What are some data analytics or AI projects that students can be involved in to learn the relevant skill sets? So I know for Karima, Ching-Chi, and Carlos at Georgia Tech, can you think of different things that you potentially worked on that aided you in kind of developing the skill sets that made you a great pick for Accenture or any other like companies?
Yeah, I could start off. So this was actually a senior design project I did, but I mean, there's projects like this that pop up all over Georgia Tech, so you don't have to wait for senior year. But basically what I did is I worked with MARTA to help them visualize their system in terms of like how many people are getting on, how many people are getting off, but also helping them figure out if they want to add a stop, right, somewhere, how will that impact the riders, right? How will that be better for them or worse for them? Or what if you move a stop down a mile? How will that impact them? So I would just say really like search for different things you could do that might include like Tableau or Power BI or data, so like I did optimization, so I did a lot of like linear programming as well. So there are different things here and there, but as we mentioned before, kind of like any skill you have, you could leverage at Accenture, right? It's really the way you angle it. But I would say that to me was very valuable to have had some Tableau experience beforehand. So now when I was thrown into projects, I was a little familiar with it at least.
Yeah, and I think to build off of that, at Georgia Tech, there's going to be no shortage of technical experiences that you're going to be able to bring, even if you just pay attention in some of the classes, or if you're a freshman, you get to use your free electives maybe to even take, I don't know, if you want Python instead of French, it's like the new cool. Or there's a lot of opportunities for you to take formal classes, but I also know that right now there's a lot of different organizations within Georgia Tech that are going to help you out with the other side, right? So technical ability at Georgia Tech is almost like ingrained. So if you have the opportunity to go out and do some good, like Randy said, with community service, or there's organizations that do pro bono consulting. I was part of Consult Your Community. That's an organization that they do pro bono consulting as well. So if you can bring that side of like that business sense with, well, the beauty of data science now is that there's so much open source data that you can just get your hands on, right? So if you can combine both those sides, then we will be fighting for you. It won't be too hard.
Thanks, Junchi. I think I would just add one more thing, and really and I noticed this a lot more in my computer science classes at Georgia Tech, trying to, go back and remember them, but taking advantage of those small projects that they give you to kind of really go above and beyond and do something that, interests you and you kind of want to learn about. And that way you can take advantage of the teacher and say, maybe, right, you're not just doing enough to get that, let's say A, but you're actually doing a project that you're really interested on. And that way you can leverage that class and the professor that you have to kind of ask those key questions to continue to learn and grow. I think that's very key.
Fantastic. I think we have like one more question that will, because we're almost out of time. And so one of the things that I've seen a bunch is Accenture focused on data science related innovations, or is also physical kinds of innovations as well in terms of the different projects you've worked on?
I can start. We do physical innovations, and I think Ching-Chi mentioned the Mixi device that we created. So that is a physical innovation that's combining machine learning and facial recognition software to determine what kind of drink you would like, right? It actually predicts what kind of drink you would like, and usually we use alcohol when we can, make it a little bit more fun. But then what it does is, based on that, it actually uses a physical robotic device to automatically pour the drink. So that's just an example of some experimentation that we've done within our Atlanta Innovation Hub. So we have a group that's focused in on all components of the data science, but we also have a group that's our lab, it's called Labs, that focuses in on robotics and automation associated with that.
Yep, and I think to build off of that, we also have a very much not party related application of that. In fact, we use the same technology of computer vision and that analytics perspective to be able to recommend advertisements that you could see, for example, like display ads, and how to reinvent display ads in like a grocery store, right? How does the, showing a particular ad affect different purchases within the grocery store and whatnot? And so that's also part of another application, which, goes into sensor data and a lot of more physical hardware type of solutions.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys joining. Risha, thank you so much for helping me facilitate this. As you guys can tell, Accenture's got a lot going on, and when you graduate, we want you. So go ahead, take what you can from this, and hopefully we will see you maybe again. With that, everyone enjoy your weekend. Again, thank you guys so much. I can't see you, but I'm giving you guys a beautiful wave and wishing you guys the best.
Go Jackets. Bye. Thank you.